Can you imagine a world where nations could resolve their differences without resorting to war? What is it that made Ukraine and Russia choose the battlefield over the negotiation table? In the heart of Eastern Europe, a storm was brewing. Historical tensions, geopolitical posturing, and a struggle for influence set the stage for a conflict that would soon engulf Ukraine and Russia. It was a delicate dance of power, with each nation trying to assert itself, to claim its place under the sun. The international community, once a calm observer, found itself drawn into the vortex. Neutrality became a luxury few could afford. Israel, a traditional mediator in this conflict, found itself in a precarious balancing act, providing humanitarian aid while withholding military support. As the situation escalated, the first signs of military confrontation began to surface. It was a chilling reminder of the destructive potential of unresolved disputes. The world watched, hoping for a peaceful resolution, but the drums of war were already beating in the distance. As the world watched with bated breath, the first salvos were fired, marking the start of a conflict that would reverberate globally. As in any war, the situation on the ground was fluid and volatile. Let's delve into the key events that shaped this conflict. The war between Russia and Ukraine was not just a battle of armies, but a clash of strategies, ideologies, and alliances. Every major battle, every strategic decision became a turning point in the war, shaping its trajectory and its consequences. In the midst of this conflict, Israel, a nation historically neutral, found itself treading a delicate balance. Former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had fostered a close relationship with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Yet, with the return of Netanyahu to office, a shift in policy was considered. This shift, leaning towards supporting Ukraine, was influenced by a reduced Russian presence in Syria and the opportunity to test defense systems against Iranian weapons. Netanyahu's potential policy change also hinted at a desire to improve relations with the Biden administration. Meanwhile, the impact of the war on the civilian population was devastating. Homes were destroyed, families were torn apart, and a humanitarian crisis was unfolding. Yet even in the face of such adversity, the international community responded. Israel, although refraining from supplying weapons, provided humanitarian aid to Ukraine, along with intelligence and technical support to counter Iranian drones. Simultaneously, the war had ripple effects far beyond the battlefield. Natural gas prices in Europe and the United States plummeted to levels unseen since before the conflict. This was due to a combination of warmer weather, increased gas storage, reduced demand, and diversification of gas sources. However, despite the drop, prices remained historically high, and governments had to step in with subsidies to cushion the impact on consumers. The war also highlighted the challenges and costs associated with transitioning to alternative energy sources. European countries, in an attempt to reduce reliance on Russian gas, started boosting imports from other countries and investing in infrastructure for liquefied natural gas. With each passing day, the war took on a life of its own, creating a complex web of alliances, strategies, and consequences. While the echoes of war might fade, the repercussions often linger. What has been the aftermath of this conflict? The aftermath of this conflict has reverberated on a global scale, influencing international relations and the world economy in ways we're still beginning to understand. Israel, traditionally neutral in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, has seen a potential shift in policy under the leadership of Benjamin Netanyahu, driven by geopolitical considerations and a desire to foster closer ties with the Biden administration. This shift is a clear illustration of how the war has reshaped alliances and diplomatic relations. On the economic front, the war has caused ripples in the global energy market. Natural gas prices in Europe and the United States have fluctuated dramatically, reaching pre-crisis levels and then soaring again. This volatility underscores the global economy's vulnerability to geopolitical conflicts and emphasizes the urgent need for diversified energy sources. Moreover, the war has brought to light the challenges and costs associated with transitioning to alternative energy sources, a crucial endeavor in our fight against climate change. It has underlined the potential impact on businesses and competitiveness, prompting governments and corporations to rethink their strategies. In the grand scheme of history, this conflict will be remembered not only for its battles but also for its profound global impact. In the span of a few minutes, we have journeyed through a war that has spanned years. Let's take a moment to reflect. We've explored the unseen battlefield where nations grapple not just with physical warfare, but with strategic alliances and political maneuverings. We've seen how Israel, a historically neutral player, may shift its stance, fueled by changing dynamics and the opportunity to test defense systems. We've also observed how the war has impacted global commodities, specifically natural gas prices, which have fluctuated significantly since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. We've witnessed the turning tides as countries adapt to these changes. European nations, for instance, have been diversifying their gas sources and investing in infrastructure to reduce reliance on Russia. Then, we listened to the echoes of war, the reverberations felt around the world, from shifts in political alliances to impacts on consumer prices and business competitiveness. These are not just isolated events, but interconnected pieces of a larger puzzle, giving us a comprehensive understanding of this conflict. As we conclude, remember that understanding such conflicts helps us strive for a world where diplomacy prevails over warfare. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.